pull up a chair. If this is your first time here, go ahead and hit subscribe before we start, because there's always another one of these waiting for you. Tonight's story is about a woman named Nora Callahan and a notification that popped up on her phone from an app she didn't even remember installing. Nora's husband, Peter, traveled often for work, regional sales meetings that took him out of town 2 or 3 times a month, always alone, or so he'd always told her. The notification came from a luggage tracking app, the kind that pings your phone when a shared suitcase moves through an airport. And Nora only had it because Peter had once linked it to their shared family account back when they used to travel together, years earlier. She hadn't opened the app in ages. The notification simply said, "Your item has arrived at its destination," followed by a second line she read twice before it made any sense at all. Nora almost laughed reading the notification a second time, the way you laugh at something too absurd to be real, before the absurdity settled into something much heavier sitting in her chest. Second tagged item nearby. Same account. Active for 4 months. Peter, for his part, hadn't touched the app in years either, forgetting entirely that a version of their old shared life was still quietly logging data in the background, patient and indifferent, waiting for someone to finally look. Nora opened the app right there at the kitchen counter. There were 2 suitcases listed under the same shared account. One was Peter's, currently sitting, according to the map, in a hotel parking structure 3 states away, exactly where his business trip was supposed to be. The other was a suitcase Nora had never seen in her life, and its location, for the past 4 months, had matched Peter's travel dates almost perfectly, arriving at the same airports, sometimes within minutes of each other, every single time. It was a small, unglamorous kind of proof, nothing dramatic, just timestamps and airport codes, and somehow that made it more convincing than any confession could have been. Nora was 42 years old, and she worked as a logistics coordinator for a regional shipping company, the kind of job that had her staring at tracking data and delivery timelines all day, every day, until reading a map full of timestamps felt more natural to her than reading most people's faces. She was good at her job because she noticed patterns other people missed entirely. She was about to notice the biggest one of her life, laid out in a phone app she'd forgotten even existed. Nora and Peter had been married for 13 years, long enough that the rhythm of his travel schedule had simply become part of the shape of their week. Monday departures, Thursday returns, a pattern so steady Nora had stopped thinking of it as something worth tracking at all. Ironic, considering how much of her actual job involved tracking exactly that kind of pattern for a living. She didn't call Peter that afternoon, and if you've ever spent your working life staring at shipment timelines for a living, you already understand exactly why she waited. She didn't panic, and she didn't confront him over the phone either. Instead, she did what she did every day at work, methodically and quietly. She started keeping her own log, cross-referencing every notification the app sent against Peter's calendar, his expense reports, and the flight confirmations he still forwarded to their shared email out of habit. The second suitcase's movements lined up with his trips with a consistency that felt less like coincidence and more like a schedule, arriving a day before Peter, or occasionally the same afternoon, and departing within hours of whenever his trip officially ended. Nora didn't know who the suitcase belonged to. She only knew, with a logistics coordinator's certainty, that nothing moved that precisely by accident. She thought back over the last several months of dinners where Peter had casually mentioned a colleague joining him at a conference, or a client dinner running late. Small details that had seemed like nothing at the time, filed away without a second thought the way you file away 100 small, unremarkable facts about a person you trust completely. She spent nearly 3 weeks building her own file before she said a word, gathering screenshots, timestamps, and a growing folder of business trip patterns that told a far more organized story than Peter had ever bothered telling her himself. She learned to check the app first thing every morning, the way she checked delivery exceptions at work, quietly noting every match, every overlap, every small detail that confirmed what she already suspected, but hadn't yet said out loud to anyone, not even her sister, because she wanted to be completely certain before she let the idea become real by speaking it. She also began quietly noting which hotel chains the second suitcase's pings clustered around, cross-referencing them against Peter's expense reports, and found that 3 of the charges he'd submitted as solo business dinners were, according to the restaurant's own public reservation system, booked for parties of 2. She finally sat Peter down the evening after his next trip ended, her laptop open on the kitchen table, a spreadsheet of dates and airports laid out between them, the same way she'd present a shipping discrepancy to a difficult client. Peter's face moved through the same stages Nora had seen 100 times from vendors caught in a billing error, confusion sliding slowly into the particular stillness of someone realizing there's no version of the story left to tell. "I didn't go looking for this," Nora said quietly, sliding the laptop toward him. "Your own suitcase told on you." Peter didn't try to argue with the data, mostly because there wasn't room to. He admitted to a relationship that had started nearly 5 months earlier, with a coworker who traveled the same regional territory he did, their trips overlapping by design rather than coincidence, month after month, disguised as nothing more than parallel business travel that never quite needed explaining until now. He said the coworker's name was Sarah, that it had started slowly at a regional conference and simply never stopped, and that the ease of overlapping business trips had made it dangerously simple to keep going, far longer than either of them had probably intended. Nora filed for divorce within the month, and true to her professional instincts, she didn't need to build the emotional case slowly, only the practical one, dividing accounts and assets with the same clear-eyed precision she brought to any shipping dispute. She kept the house, and she kept the family travel account too, if only so she could finally delete the second suitcase from it herself, watching the little icon disappear from the map for good. Nora's sister, when she finally heard the whole story, told her it sounded less like a betrayal discovery and more like an audit, which Nora took, oddly, as one of the kindest things anyone had said to her that entire year. A year later, Nora still keeps that app on her phone, mostly out of habit now, tracking nothing but her own luggage on the rare trips she takes for herself these days. She kept a printed copy of that first notification too, tucked inside the same folder as everything else, a strange little souvenir of the exact moment an ordinary Tuesday afternoon quietly stopped being ordinary. She told me once that her job had taught her to trust data over feelings for years, and that the strangest part of the whole discovery wasn't the affair itself, but how calm she felt reading the pattern unfold, like she'd simply been running one more shipment report that happened to be about her own life instead of someone else's cargo. Nora eventually mentioned, half joking, that if she ever wrote a manual for her own department, Rule 1 would simply be, check what's still connected before you assume anything is truly separate, a rule that had clearly applied to far more than shipping accounts. She sometimes thinks about how easily the whole thing could have stayed hidden if Peter had simply remembered to unlink an old shared account, a detail so small it was almost funny, the kind of oversight her own job had taught her to always check for. So tell me, whoever's listening tonight, do you think Peter ever imagined a shared family app would be the thing that gave him away? Or do you think some patterns are simply too consistent to hide forever? I'd love to know what you think, so leave it in the comments. And if this story caught you off guard, give it a like before you go. Pull up a chair again next week, and I'll tell you another one. Until then, take care of yourselves and take care of each other.